I've seen a lot of bankers, and I've seen a lot of cops. I've seen a lot of lawyers pull out all of the stops. I've seen a lot of children with their parents in their hands. I've built a lot of women who refuse to understand. Well, I don't think I understand why we're making such a fuss. And I don't think I understand what's come of all of us. And I don't think I understand why we take this world for granted. I just want to get right back to Guitar Players Planet. You see it in the papers, you read it every day. The riots and the fires going on in South LA. The muggers and the government, they're all wanting the same thing. They take you for your money and whatever else you bring. Well, I don't think I understand why we're making such a fuss. And I don't think I understand what's come of all of us. And I don't think I understand why we take this world for granted. I just want to get right back to Guitar Players Planet. Take me.
There it is.
Top of the morning to you.
Top of the morning. Hello there. Frosted Lucky Charms.
Magically delicious.
Delicious. Eat that with my
How's it
corned
going,
beef
guys?
and
Haven't seen
cabbage.
Patty. Oh, no. No, I was never a big cabbage fan. I'll eat the corned beef all day, but not the cabbage. Yeah, nah. Too weird tasting. Hello in the background. We were watching them sneak up on you. It was great.
I know, right?
We saw it coming.
Yep, saw it coming.
Oh man. Mark said, wait. Mark's already starting with you. He said, wake up.
Tyler's trying to do 3 jobs.
Yeah.
So what's going on, guys? Got some good news, got some bad news, got some ugly news.
Yeah. So it's all good
What do you
now.
want to start with?
Today. I'll probably be feeling like crap tomorrow, but I just got my second COVID shot. So
I had
number
it
2
on
is
Sunday.
in. Number 2 is done. So we'll see what the side effects are of this Moderna vaccine. See if I'm dragging ass tomorrow.
Right?
Yeah, I had mine on Sunday. I had the Pfizer one.
Okay.
And I'll be honest with you. I mean, it was easier than the first one.
Okay.
I was
That's
nervous
good.
as all hell.
Okay.
I was getting ready for chills at 1 o'clock in the morning and fevers and whatever. And, literally, the only thing that it felt like Eric. It felt like somebody like your size or Tyler's size punched me in the arm.
Yeah, that's the way it was for my first shot with Moderna.
Yeah, on my first shot, I couldn't even lift up my arm after like 12 or 13 hours. It was just like,
Yep.
Oh,
it was pretty bad.
Felt like I'd
Yeah, I
gone
didn't
about
do too
10
bad with
rounds
the
with
first one.
Mike Tyson. And he just kept
Yeah.
hitting the same spot.
Wow. This will be, 2 weeks after this, and then I guess after 2 weeks or so, then they're considered, vaccinated. So
Immune.
We'll see.
Yeah, I heard the Pfizer, and I could be wrong. One of my social media buddies, Melissa, told me that Pfizer it only takes a week to get you up to over 90%. I don't know if that's accurate or not.
I don't know. That's pretty
I
cool.
don't think
though.
they've been
That'd
able
be
to
good,
prove
though.
that yet, but
I don't know.
No, I think
And
it's
the
too early
Johnson
for
& Johnson
anything.
is
But,
that Johnson & Johnson, man, just one shot and you're done.
Yeah, but it's only 68% effective.
Yeah, I heard 70.
Yeah, I heard it builds. But still, hey, just one shot.
Yeah,
and you're done.
yeah. Again, all these we're not going to know what these vaccines are doing until October.
Yeah,
true.
And when October comes in the fall, when everybody stops wearing masks, and you're going to see a couple things go on, I think. If the vaccine does what it's going to do, or what it should do, not what it's going to do, what it should do, then you're going to start seeing. You remember last fall where there was no instances of influenza? The flu just disappeared.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah,
it was gone. And that was really had a lot to do with the mask wearing that we were wearing the whole time because of COVID. Because nobody was breathing on itself, nobody was spreading the flu.
Right.
You know, but now exactly. I think you're going to see if the flu and you're going to see a level off of the flu and COVID, and it's going to be weird. It's going to be weird.
Yeah. But we'll see what happens, but
yeah.
I'm just glad. Okay, number 2 is done, so now I can move on.
well, the thing that I'm stoked about is Jen was able to get her number 1 this Sunday, the one coming up. So that means the fam will be vaccinated by Memorial Day, which means we could have a barbecue. So nice. Even if it's only like 5 people, I don't care. You know, but
that's it. Just to have people around and just socialize without too much worry. That's going to be nice. But
yeah.
It's going to be good. It's going to be good.
Well,
so
what else
have you
5
been up
minutes
to?
of the COVID spiel. That's it.
Yeah. So anyway. So what else have you been up to? Because didn't you get a scope that you're using right now, or a temporary scope, or what?
I do. I have the scope and it's ready to go. But I'm waiting for some sort of focuser because my focuser won't fit, and I need another flange. So now I need another adapter, and that's that. But my Esprit is on its way back. My 80.
Okay.
So that's on its way back. All of the Primaluce stuff for the 120 has shipped.
Okay.
That's on its way. I was proud. Tom called me up and he's like, I just wanted to let you know I wanted you to be the first. I was like, excuse me? I was like, what do you mean? He's like, you're the first sale going out of California. So
nice.
So I got California 0001. so I'm gonna. I don't know if he's watching this. He may be watching.
You're the maiden launch. You're the maiden shipment.
So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna sign it like for the dollar bill. The first dollar bill. I'm gonna autograph it and send it back to him. I'm gonna send him the shipping label back.
Nice.
So that's coming back. I'm stoked about that. I'm finally, I won't miss all of Galaxy season, which is coming up very soon. Spring is almost here. Spring is when is spring? Spring is like next week.
21st. Next week.
Yeah. So spring is next week.
Don't trust that prick Phil.
It's actually this weekend. It's Sunday.
What is it? Let's see. It's Friday, right? It's Sunday. The 21st.
The 21st is the first official day of spring. So we'll see, because you know what? We just got a snowstorm just a few days ago, sleeting snowstorm. So winter's not done with us yet. Winter's not done with us just yet. So
it made a slight left turn and went above Long Island. So I got like a couple of bouncing rain droplets, like little mini hails, and that was about it. But
Tyler got hail at work today.
Yeah. I mean, Arkansas will do that to you, man. They got some wacky weather down there.
Well, they're
keep it up.
I think right now they're.
Oh, you're here? Oh, there you are.
I've been here the whole time, Jason's taking me off screen. I'm not good enough for screen.
I took you off because you're working.
He's not screen worthy.
Oh, so are you really working?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Jesus.
What happens when you're salaried? You're constantly working.
I've been salary for about 25 years. So
exactly.
So
there's no such thing as hourly IT.
Dude, I'm on vacation this week. I got 6 phone calls from work today.
Yeah,
and that's
like,
salary.
by the way, before you go, I know you're going on vacation soon, but by the way.
No, it's all these other people that know I'm on vacation. They know I'm on vacation, but they just like to talk to me because they'll get an answer. Believe it or not, I actually know what I'm doing at work.
Oh, quit calling you this week. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I do have my moments of knowing what I'm doing.
Doggies. The doggies.
So we got a couple things. I know Tyler wants to speak a little bit about focusers. I know that Eric wants to talk about his trials and tribulations with the 294. I know I got some stuff about the Southern Sky Challenge, so I got some updates on that. And I guess since we haven't said it so well, we all hate Jason, so Jason has nothing. So.
At least my closer's going to come in and close tonight because I put us on a timer because I'm getting sick of going over.
Oh, you set it to about the halfway of what our show normally runs. So
that's the goal.
All right. So who wants to start off? Anybody want to start off? Go right ahead. I don't care.
Eric, let's hear about your trials.
Okay, Tyler,
and
come on.
with it.
Okay, fine.
It's just
trials
and tribulations of the 294
trials and tribulations.
monochrome.
Monochrome. I'm sure you guys have seen my photos and stuff like that. But the one thing that I won't necessarily call this a tribulation, but with the new set, it's certain things to get used to. One is with the 294 mono, they've unlocked bin 1, which is double the resolution of what the 294 one-shot color is in its bin 1. So you're about like 8,000, a little bit over 8,000 by like 4,000 pixel size, which is great. But I had, it's just a lot of learning, dealing with PixInsight and also working with APP and a few other things. And also learning I have to keep remembering to deal with my flats. I think the flats were the worst thing about that image that I took. But
that was
the
dreadful,
HA,
man.
Yeah, they were bad. But
that was bad.
But you know what? Honestly, the HA turned out really nicely, and that's what that mono just saved. That's what saved the image. So on the reel, but learning how, because dealing with 1x1 and a 1x1 on the one shot color and a 1x1 on the mono, two totally different resolutions, trying to get them to join, doing an HARGB. Figured it out. It wasn't as hard as I thought. And a couple of things that I learned were with PixInsight was, I had no idea about this, was when you and I'm sure you guys already know about this, but I didn't, is setting up when you're doing a dynamic crop and setting up, if you're doing, say, RGB or SHO, and you've got all these different finished images as far as they're all linear, to get them all to match up when you're doing like one crop and to get them to all be the same size, right? So I'm sure that's about, right?
Yeah, that's a big stepping stone of learning, because a lot of people are getting these errors when they're just starting off with PixInsight and monochrome, saying invalid geometry.
Yeah.
The geometry is not right.
Basically the same thing with APP as well. Yeah. And I was getting the same APP, it was APP, and it was driving me nuts.
Yeah, so the one way to do that, and I don't know if this is the way you did it, Eric, and I'll just throw it out there for the people that don't know how to do the dynamic crop. And you know what? Let me see if I can.
Because I can actually pull it up on PI if you want me to.
Yeah. If you got it all set up.
Yeah. So here, well, first let me show you what, because I use APP a lot. So let me share my screen. And so let me go there, talk about screen sharing. And share this. Okay. So while PI is firing up, there is the issue with my monos. So, for example, if I go here into my one-shot color, and I'm going to go, this is my RGB setting, and I'm going to say this is session 1. And there that is. So that's loaded. And that was pretty scary, especially when the flats came out. And then if I grab, cancel, wrong thing. If I grab the mono, and this is the mono here, and HA, and session 1, and there's this guy. Okay, so here was the issue. So basically trying to do within APP, doing a combined RGB. And I would choose HARGB, load both of my channels. And that is hydrogen alpha. And then add the color, and that one was right here. And okay, so it's going to do all 3, so it recognizes all 3, and then do a recalculate. This is what would happen. And they say when the images aren't compatible, make sure to have all the same dimension and bit depth. So okay. So one thing so I was struggling with this, and just happening to come across Sean's his how-to, and let me fire this up. It was really, it's really, really handy. So let's just get this to load really quick.
So what exactly did he show you then?
So with dynamic crop, basically what you can do is if you have all of your FITS files you have all your FITS files together, you can basically target, you can do a dynamic crop on one, to make a long story short, and then you
pull the instance over.
Pull the instance over. Exactly.
Yeah, that's what I was going to show on.
No idea that is what you do.
Yeah, and that's the way to make sure that everything is the same height and width. So. Yep.
So long story short, so basically that was it. So that was really handy. I learned a lot about deconvolution in doing this whole thing, with the hydrogen alpha, using that as my luminance channel. So here's the final shot with everything that's all put together. But now I can actually take this data and move it into APP and do some adjustments there. I'm going to probably most likely put together some sort of maybe do a video of this and share it out. So for people, maybe it can help others out, but it turned out really, really well in the long run, because I'll be honest, those one-shot color, the flats, I don't know what happened, but they just turned out awful. And the mono, HA turned out fine. And when I put it all together, it worked out. So, yeah, it was good. So let me just stop sharing here and get back to this. There you go. So it was interesting, none to say the least. And you're learning a lot. I will honestly say I've probably spent more with this particular project, doing this merge of HA and, of the 294 mono and the one-shot color, putting them both together to see, to get this image, I think I learned a lot more on the processes of PixInsight than I think I've ever, period. To understand all the different scripts that are out there, like Easy Decon, Easy HDR, actually going through the whole deconvolution process itself, because Sean actually has a really good tutorial, Sean Nielsen for Visual Dark, that really, puts it out nice and easy and makes it easy to understand. And then I hopped over to Adam's when I was doing some fundamentals, learning even more about the process of why you do, where Sean, he will help you get, get right into it. And he won't necessarily bombard you with a lot of, okay, this is why you do it. But if you do want to know, that's when you go to Adam in Adam Block and you do those fundamentals, and he actually explains the process. So it was really educational. It was an educational weekend for me, that's for sure, and understanding a lot more on PI. And even this helps me also in APP, to do a lot of this stuff. So it worked out. Learning the stuff that I did is going to help me with both applications. So it turned out to be not as bad as I thought it was going to be. And it turned out to be a decent image, at least what most folks were saying. So I couldn't be, I'm happy with it. So.
Yeah, let me show something real quick here. And it's the same place where you were going as far as geometry and the sizes of the pictures. Let me see if I could get on here real quick. vMix and toggle screen sharing and share. Okay, and we're going to go back to PixInsight if I can find it after I do all that. There we go. Okay, everybody can see that? Okay, so here, and we got 3 images of the Tarantula Nebula. Okay?
Yep.
And
you're evil. One
thing that you could look at, and it's down here, W3156, height 3066. That's the width and height of the picture that you're on. Okay? So if you go to the next picture, oh, look at that, 4096 by 4096. And then this picture is 4096 by 4096. And go back to the first one, we're 3156 by 3066. So when you sit there and you try to stack this, it won't be able to star align anything because the pictures are smaller than the others. Now, how do we fix it? Basically, it's the same exact thing that what Eric just alluded to right now. So if I want all the pictures to match, let's say this one, and I'm going to go into dynamic crop, and in order to get to dynamic crop, you could go to process, all processes, because I just don't do it by alphabetical because I don't know anything else, but dynamic crop. So there's a dynamic crop right there, or you could set it up as an icon right here, and here's the dynamic crop screen. Okay? We'll cancel this out for a second because I want to. Okay, we're going to start the dynamic crop again, and now you'll see that this picture just turned a little bit grayer, and the reason is because now you have a border around it. So let's say I want to trim this line out, even though I'll cut out part of the nebula, but let's say I want to trim that just for fun. Okay. Yep. Now before I hit this checkbox, I don't want to hit this checkbox yet. If I hit that checkbox, then it's going to apply to this figure. But I want these settings on the other 2 figures.
Yep.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the instance and I'm going to drag it over to here. Click yes. Okay, and same thing with this one. Drag it over to here. Click yes. And then go back to the first and then checkbox it. And then you're at 2976 by 3066. Oh, what just happened? Something happened.
Oh, boy. What happened?
Well, you can do it.
Dan, you have to apply it on each of those additional images.
I did.
It only applied to the one that was active, right?
No, I did.
Go to your processes, your Explorer history, and just go backwards. and then on your sulfur and just redo it.
Wow, that was weird.
Yeah, that's
the
okay.
master is being taught by the student.
What are you talking about?
The master is being taught by the student. Eric is the student. You are the so-called master. Get on.
I am not the master by any means, and I've said that many times. But
is Breacher on?
Oh, you have been taught by Breacher quite a bit, and Adam, and Sean.
Yeah, but that should not have happened. This is what you get when you have images that aren't yours. So
now we have excuses, folks. This is what excuses look like.
Oh man, somebody mute that guy.
Sorry, mute button's broken.
Mute button's broken.
Sorry.
All right, well that is the process. I don't know why it didn't work there, but that should normally work. And I'm gonna toggle speech here.
The bad thing is Mark Ellis agrees with you. So oof.
Well, because I'm right, and he knows I'm right. that normally should work. I don't know. I do not know why that didn't work. I will have to find out. That is actually the data we got from Telescope Live. That is not my data. so
we're going to talk about that later.
So with that being said, how come the S2 was different size than the HA?
I don't know.
It's
we'll
the
have
same
to look
camera.
At that in a second.
It's the same camera and the same.
I know,
same
but
telescope.
no. Hold on. I did an example. I cropped one before I put it on the screen. Okay, just to make one different.
What?
Why would you do that?
Just to make one different, to show that it works, and it didn't work.
And it didn't work.
It didn't work. But that is the process. So you could just highlight where you want to crop, and drag the instance over to the other two, and then do it on the first one, and that'll work. Yeah. Or you could even drag the instance onto the desktop and then do it that way too as well.
Yeah, and once I did that, then I went through the rest of the process of through PixInsight. I first started out with the HA, doing its workflow, and as I mentioned, doing deconvolution, doing. I also did HDR on it and a few other things, and then I moved over to the one-shot color and processed it. And then what turned out, usually from what I understand, and this is how Sean was explaining it, and I even saw this on Amy Astro, that normally I guess you would use pixel math to do a lot of the to do all the calculations and everything, and it didn't. And for some reason, for me, it didn't work out that way. And I just basically used LRGB combined and chose the HA for my luminance, and did and then left everything else the way it was, and then I ended up getting the image I got. But another thing which is really cool is and this is just, it's entirely anybody's prerogative and how they want to do their processing. It's entirely up to them. But if you have both PixInsight and APP like I do, one thing that I was just experimenting with just yesterday is if you wanted, once you did that dynamic crop and you got everything the same size, then you can actually you can save those FITS files, reload them back into APP, and then go through the combining process, and with the combined RGB, and do it that way, and then it quickly merges everything without pixel math or anything like that, and it came out to be a really nice image there as well. And then you can, so if you have both of them and you were experimenting around and you wanted to do that, and maybe you didn't want to deal with the pixel math and stuff like that, it's an option, and it seems to work. And it worked out for me, so it does work. I don't see a problem why it wouldn't work for anybody else. Because if it works for me, then it should work for anybody. But yeah, it was. It turned out to be really well. And I don't know if anybody has. Have you? You guys have. Who has APP? Don't you, Jason, have APP? Okay.
Jason does.
Yep.
Jason does. So you and I are the only ones who have APP, and then you and Tyler, I guess you and Dan, you guys just have PI. Do you have PI? What do you have?
PI.
You have PI?
Yeah, Tyler's got
Yeah.
PI. So, it's two different things, and there's two different ways to do it, but that was the one thing. Now, I don't know, that's the one, as far as with APP, it can't do that dynamic crop and make it the same size as PixInsight does, so you can do that. So
yeah, but don't you have like a file geometry kind of thing on
there is
APP?
a geometry. There is, but it's in the initial processing phase, not in the post phase.
I thought I saw that somewhere when I was playing with it somewhere.
Yeah, so you can go in and tell it to basically stack and do geometric correction, and it will take its place within the region of interest, whatever it can match.
Gotcha.
And then you'll just go in and do a crop and post, but you'll have to have everything stacked. It won't be separated.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to do it all at the once. So yeah, but it turned out to be okay. So, but the mono, I honestly can say the mono itself I love this camera. I absolutely love this camera. So for me, it was money well spent. It was money well spent. So
I'm talking to somebody now who's taking the dive into mono, and I was talking to him today, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna get the 2600 mono, blah blah blah, and all this stuff," and I'm like, okay, well, what filters are you gonna get? He's like, "Oh well, what do you have?" I was like, "Well, I had you're out."
Every single filter known to man.
Yeah.
No, I don't. Although I did just win $100 gift certificate to Optolong, and I don't know what I'm going to get. But
nothing.
Nothing.
Hold on to it for 4 to 6 months.
For Optolong?
Yeah. You never, because they're always going to come up with something new.
I can't say anything. Just hold on to it.
They're always going to something new.
The problem
as long as
is,
it doesn't turn my pictures red, I'm okay.
Killing me.
Sorry. I'm a little bit of a biatch. I'm sorry.
Just stack it with the red channel. Just stack it with the red channel.
But yeah. So he was like, "What do you?" And I said, I got Optolong 7 nanometers. I just, I'm paying for filters I don't have. So I got the Antillas coming, the 3 nanometer pros, and I got AstroWorld E series. And he's like, "Oh, really? Oh, okay." And so he goes, "You know what? I think I'm going to get the chromas." So I said, "Have you spoken to Mark yet?" I said, "You may want to use your resources before making that plunge. Just make sure that it works." I'm just saying. Is it really? I don't know. I've yet to see somebody put out a picture of like a Chroma LRGB, just raw files, and compare them to, let's say, an AstroWorld. I've yet to see that comparison yet. So
the price point.
I'd like to see.
Fair enough determination. The price point alone is a fair enough determination for me to stay away from chromas, other than Mark's issue.
Other than the fact they went up.
I mean, they went up.
Oh yeah,
they went up to $1,300 per filter.
Yeah, the chroma's doubled in price. Yeah.
Oh my God! So I really want to know if LRGB said it's 4, so it's 5,200. Say $5,000 to make it round it off. $5,000 on a 4 filter set. My AstroWorld's what, 1,300?
Yeah.
What was that?
That won't fit in a filter wheel.
Yeah, they're too thick. You need another layer of thickness. But it's like
what was that?
it's like
What was that?
I think you need another layer of thickness. but you know, it's like I don't know if the $4,000 increase in filter. I don't know if the results just
for RGB for
LRGB.
LRGB.
From Astronaut to LRGB, it's about a $3,500 price difference.
Well, and even the Antillas, just an LRGB set for the Antillas is $350, and they're 3.5 nanometer.
Yeah.
And the Astrodons are what? 4?
What for the set?
Yeah, for the LRGB Astrodons.
No, they're like 1,100 now.
Oh Jesus! Yeah, but what's the thickness? What nanometer?
No, hell no. Hail to the mother. No.
What's up? What's up?
It's stupid. Sorry, it's just dumb. It's just dumb.
But what nanometer?
If you want to pay the price.
What nanometer are they Astrodon? LRGBs.
Let's see. I'm trying to find out because, let's see.
Because I want to say they were like 4.5.
Are you talking about thickness or wavelength?
The wavelength.
Are you talking nanometer?
Yeah.
Because
nanometer.
isn't it? Why would it? Because that's okay. I'm getting confused now.
Okay, so the problem with the chromas, the threads are too long, so they scrape the back of almost any filter wheel, and they're the only ones that seem to have like a 7-millimeter long thread.
Okay.
On their mounted.
No, because I'm getting a little confused because when we're talking nanometer, I'm thinking light bandpass.
Correct.
Yeah. No.
Yes, you are.
And
but
so
millimeter of
so
thickness.
when you're talking
millimeter thickness, the actual there's too much thread.
Well, yeah, I get
thread.
that.
Yeah.
No, and I get that, but when you're talking broadband, isn't broadband usually like
broadband
some
is
higher
bandpass.
number of nanometer? Yeah. If broadband is much higher bandpass, it's not 3 or 4 nanometer, is it?
No, the broadband's usually 7 to 12.
Yeah, something like that. So, I'm sorry, I can really, because I'm looking at just a red, a blue, and a green, and and a green. That's just those 3. Now, I may make the argument on the luminance filter, like I would use an L Pro or something like that, depending on your location. But for those the 3 primary colors like that, I can't justify spending that kind of money for broadband. Now, narrowband, probably so. But for broadband, I don't know.
But that's why the Antillas are so reasonable, because they're 3.5 nanometer, so they're looking at a very narrow region, and they're $350 for the entire LRGB set of the mounted 2-inch.
Right.
Yeah, the Astrodon 1.25 mounted is $184 right now, and the 2 inches. Yeah, no, the 36mm unmounted is $780.
What's the M48's 2-inch?
Yeah.
Looks like unmounted. Let's see, what's the set? They have it set up so weird here. I'll have to look for it and see, because this website stinks.
How are we looking on time, Jason? Because it's gone. I don't see it.
Yeah,
I don't leave it up so that it's not a constant reminder.
Right.
I like a constant reminder.
Well, I can leave it burn. It doesn't stop.
The Astrodon 49.7. What is that? That's a 50mm.
Yeah.
30, 36, 31, 36, 31, 36. What the hell?
That's all right. We can come back to that.
That's why.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, other things as far as what I've got going on, for me, I just bought a new camera and waiting for it to come. But no, it's not a dedicated. It's not a dedicated Astro camera.
Oh,
DSLR. What did you buy?
I got this. I got this for the New Mexico trip for landscape astrophotography. I got it's a pre-owned. I got a 6D, a pre-owned 6D.
Good choice.
So face frame. So it's a full frame, and
6D. Which one?
It's going. It's the first one. It's not a Mark II. It's a Mark 1. Yeah. So it'll be fine for what I want to do. I've never done landscape astrophotography or any Milky Way in my ever, period. So this is something that's going to be totally new for me. But I ended up also purchasing a nice, inexpensive Bauer 14 millimeter wide lens. So I have that. So for that landscape, for that good landscape astrophotography. So I've got that, and so we're looking, and of course I've got my Rokinon 135. So if I really want to, get some other, closer in and get more narrow into some actual specific targets, I can do that as well. But it's going to be a fun adventure doing landscape astrophotography. It's totally different from what I'm used to. So it's going to be a new learning curve for me. New learning curve.
It's going to be fun, though.
And yeah, it's going to be fun. And then I have to learn to use Photoshop and Lightroom a little bit more. Learning those a little bit to do all that type of stuff.
Yeah,
so it should be
I know
fun.
nothing about those.
Yeah, me either.
I know it enough to do what I need to do with most of my photo editing, but to be honest, I've done 90% of this stuff now in Lightroom. It's gotten so feature-packed. It's insane how capable that program has become.
Most of us can't afford Lightroom.
You can. It's
$10 a month.
It's $10 a month. What are you talking about?
You get Photoshop and Lightroom for $10 a month.
Oh, but whoa! You're cheap. You're buying all this
I'm
stuff,
sorry.
and you can't spend $10 a month.
Hey,
There's a difference. It's a reoccurring fee.
Yeah,
go ahead, Daniel.
Being like
go ahead.
$10 a month to death, just like the rest of the United States. We're being like $8.99 a month to death between Office and Netflix and Roku and whatever other streaming service, Paramount Plus. Dude, by the time you add up all the $8.99 a month that we're spending, we're probably spending like $800 a month.
Well, and then the internet companies went, wait, they're not getting cable from us anymore. Take the price up $180 a month.
Yeah.
All right, so we talked about
Eric's
dilemma. So we talked about my stuff. Yep. So we talked about my stuff. So now it's Tyler's turn.
So focusers, I get a lot of complaints. Not really complaints, but more of what focuser should I get with what? I have the common camera that I'm constantly hearing right now is the 2600 or the 6200. That's the common camera that I'm constantly hearing. So my next question is, for the people that have those said cameras, what focusers do you recommend? Rack and Pinion, Crayford, Focus Cube. I know they're like the EAF, the Pegasus Focuser Cube. Or do you want to just go ahead and jump the gun and get just a whole new focuser attachment, i.e. Moonlight, Optec, Feather Touch? What is the best option for which camera? Yes, it all depends on the telescope that you're also getting as well. That's what I kind of wanted to start a little, not really a debate. We only got about 40 minutes to talk about this, and I know Dan's got some stuff to talk about. Because I just recently purchased the Nightcrawler. I got it all set up on the 120. Got it all done. Looks great, but is it worth the money for a beginner or intermediate? If you ask these guys, they're basically telling you I'm a novice because I don't produce images, I don't do anything, I just buy stuff. But when I do, they're going to be in awe. They're going to be in all shock.
It's going to be a half moon.
It's going to be a half moon. What do you guys think? I know they're trying to get away from Crayfords. There's not that many Crayfords now in stock or just anywhere in general because everybody's going with a rack and pinion. Now, depending on what telescope manufacturer that you go with, will determine on what you do. But what are your guys' opinion on it? You try to stick with the stock focusers that come with the telescopes, or do you shop the telescope manufacturer, depending on what focuser it is, knowing that like the Skywatcher's got a good stock focuser. It's highly recommended, it's built solid. Or do you go with other manufacturers knowing the fact that you might have to possibly replace that focuser because there could be sag, because I'm not going to name any names, some focusers sag, because with cameras nowadays, they can't handle the weight of, especially full frame. They definitely can't handle the weight.
Well, not even just looking at full frame, just looking at DSLRs. That's where most of the weight comes in. You know, you sling a full frame DSLR in the back end of the scope.
Oh yeah,
that's an immense amount of weight.
Yeah,
more so than our dedicated cameras.
Oh yeah, I mean, so is it like a 6D compared to a 2600? You know, the weight's not there.
That's yeah.
Well, I mean, Tyler already knows my answer to this because I've done it to the specific scopes that he's referring to. But other manufacturer scopes, I have not had that issue. Specifically speaking to the ASCARs. He's muting me now.
You just went offline.
The ASCAR FRA 400 that I've got, stock focuser has been just about perfect. I mean, I wouldn't quite put it with a Moonlight, but it's a damn solid product. But you know, Tyler just helped me take care of getting a Moonlight for the 140. I had a 102 that I had a Moonlight on. Phenomenal focuser, and build quality second to none.
Yeah, I mean, I've gone through, I've changed out, I think, every single focuser that I've had. I won't say what distributor that I first changed out of, but
I already know the answer.
So you know what? I mean, I am sure, and I was looking at it when I had to put it back together because I sent out my Esprit to be cleaned and it's coming back. But that stock focuser seems pretty solid, and I haven't tried it really. I took it right off because I actually took my focuser off my old scope and put it on the new scope just because I had it. But I mean, it was a 2.5-inch focuser. All I needed was the flange, and I had another $1,000 focuser to throw it in there. At that time, I had the rotator as well.
So again, I already know what telescope you're talking about. So one things that I've recommended to people that can't afford the higher end telescopes that have the better focusers, stock focusers, to save them a little bit of money, is rotating it 180 degrees. What actual difference that makes, I don't know, but I can clearly see it in the actual image because I'm getting rid of the tilt within the image that was previously there from the sag. So there's always an answer out there before you have to immediately jump to a high-end focuser.
That's true.
Unless you just got money to burn, like Mark Ellis does. You got more money to burn than he knows what the hell to do with.
You shouldn't be saying anything, Mr. Moneybags over there.
But you know what? But when you're talking about focusers a little bit, I will say, and this is not about a refractor or anything like that, but my Rasa, that stock focuser on that Rasa, I don't know what it is. It is totally different from any other SCT that I've had to deal with. It is solid. That thing, doesn't matter what temperature it goes, you know, you drop down to, that thing will not move. It is nice, and it just stays stiff, and it just, I've never needed to worry about that Rasa in the middle of the night having to deal with adjusting that focuser at all. It's been solid.
That's now nice. I know, like with the RC for Mark, first thing he did was rip off that focuser because everybody on most RCs.
Oh
actually,
immediately
trashed it.
Because don't those all the basically all of the sub $10,000 RCs are all pretty much made by GSO, aren't they?
Yeah, pretty
basically.
much.
Yeah. And they're all basically so you use the same focuser. So yeah, I'm not
surprised.
Across the whole line.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't matter if it's GSO, TPO, whoever.
It's all the same.
Optitron, it's all the same.
It all comes from China, rebranded. That's what it is.
It's it. So. Orion, it's all basically the same stuff.
But see, like Mark pointed out in the chat, the Esprit line all have great focusers.
Yeah.
The problem is you cannot attach an EAF to it. That's the problem.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm still not putting a $300 focuser on a $3,000 scope. I'm sorry. I'm not doing it.
I'm just. We know where your standards are.
Yeah.
We know where Mark Ellis' standards are. Here's the beginners, and here is you and Mark, way off camera.
Yeah. We're just, you know what? Hey, listen. I don't know about you pointing the finger at me because we all at the table here are a little nuts with our Astro gear. So
I don't know what you're talking about because I've got a currently a value of $6,000 or $6,500 scope sitting on my $3,000 mount with a $200 focuser on it, and it works absolutely fine, even before I put the moonlight on it.
But I'm from the same mentality of I still can't justify spending almost $4,000 to me on a scope that could look at one star, meaning solar. I can't justify that to myself. Maybe when I retire and I have daytimes off, maybe I'll do that. But
you mean like now?
Like this week?
But for everybody else that doesn't have money to just burn or have that mind fluctuations, like if I just spent $3,000 on a good decent scope, but I don't have any money left over to buy a decent or a good enough automated focuser, or at least a better focuser than what's currently on it.
Right.
Maybe, what if the EAF or the Pegasus focuser cube? What if that's a good substitute for now?
It is. I'm just talking crap because that's what I do. But
This is what we do.
Listen, the EAFs, this is what we do. We're on Long Island. Come on. But but the EAF, the Pegasus Focus Cube, the version 2, all those little focuser in a box type thing, they all work really well. They work really well. And if you're looking to, whether you're going brand loyalist like all ZWO and you're doing the ASIR and the whole thing, and you need something to work with it, or you just like the product, there's nothing wrong with any of these focusers because they're all good.
Well,
they're all good.
And I think we should really be differentiating because we started talking about the actual focuser, which every scope has. Then we've kind of morphed it into the autofocuser side, which is an accessory that gets added to it. Now, it is a component that you do want to pay attention to because most people eventually want to adapt to some form of autofocus. But inherently, very few manufacturers, none that I'm immediately aware of, stock come with an autofocus capability.
No, none of them do. No.
So,
I think does Optech? I don't know if Optech may.
I don't think so.
I think it's an option. It's not stock. Yeah, it's an aftermarket add-on.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean, as a beginner, Dan, Eric, Jason, as a beginner, getting into the hobby, not doing astrophotography right now, what focuser would you lean towards? Crayford or rack and pinion?
Rack and pinion. Rack and pinion all day long.
RP.
Yeah.
Well, having that fine focus and being able to slightly adjust the tension, especially if you're doing visual, not looking at astrophotography, just looking at visual, having that fine focuser, completely changes the game. Because sit there trying to do...
You get that 10x on the side.
Yep.
And you get that 10-to-1 focuser, and you're gonna be so much, especially when you're dealing with refractors. What are you doing, Tyler? You gotta see your face, man.
Working. I'm working.
But when you're dealing with visual, like Jason said, and you get that 10-to-1 focuser, and you could just tweak that in there, especially when you're dealing with refractors, when you got such a nice dispersion. It's going to be solid, man. It's going to be solid.
Yeah. I'll even say that with my 8-inch SCT, because Scott was even mentioning, that for the most part, all the Celestron focusers are subpar. I will agree with him on that for the most part, but I don't know what it is with the Rasa, that they did something with that one, that focuser is solid. I don't know what they did with it. Because
they put all their money into the focuser, and now you got tilt issues.
Yeah. I'm going to talk to you about the tilt issue in just a second. I've got a remedy for the tilt issue. I've got a remedy for that. But getting back to this, I actually replaced the focuser of my 8-inch with a feather touch.
Okay.
Because
did you get a micro?
A micro feather touch. Just because of what you guys are talking about.
Yep.
Because when I'm doing visual, I usually use that 8SC a lot for visual with my kids and all that, to get that fine focus so they can see the planets or, anything like that. It's 10, 20, 100 times better. It is just flat out better. So.
What do we got going on in the chats? We got anything good?
Just Mark whining.
Let's see. Mark, stock focuser on GSO stinks. I used a Prima Lucha Lab focuser on my SP100 120 before the moonlight. They're not. No, they're not. There are plenty worse than that. Trust me.
Oh God,
they're not
yes.
I agree that pretty much. That's Eric talking.
But that's one thing too that I will credit, like Williams Optics, which most people consider the entry or budget scope manufacturer.
What?
Well, because they've got all their doublets, and they are a fairly easy entry point.
Who's that?
The Williams Optics.
He's saying,
the Williams Optics focusers are actually surprisingly solid.
I love
for their price
my
point.
WOs. I love them.
I don't know if I would
triplet. I don't know what it is. I'm biased because that's what I got.
I don't know if I'd categorize them as beginner telescopes, personally.
Yeah.
No?
Well, I don't know.
Again, that's my opinion.
The doublets are what, $800?
It would depend.
I'm looking at the fact...
That was my beginner telescope, because actually that GT71, it was that's a reasonably priced entry-level Astro APO.
And the reason I phrase it that way is from a product standpoint. They've got more doublets in that sub-$1,000, sub-$1,200 category than any other manufacturer on the market. That's why I quantify them as the beginner scope.
Okay, but if I'm going to pay the same amount, I can get a triplet from other manufacturers.
Yeah.
Or more.
Yep.
And that's where people like Ascar are really coming into their own, because they're coming out with Quints and, very quickly spreading throughout the network of scopes. I know they've got some other stuff in the pipeline that can't be discussed right now, but they're working on other things that aren't just the refractors. They've got some CT stuff coming down the pike. They have a Newt that's out. So
Darren's probably going to beat me, and so is Eric, Jason, whatever. I'm looking. I think I want an HD, an Edge. I think I want an 8-inch.
Get the 9 1/4.
Yeah, if you're gonna do
get the 9 1/4.
Well, get the 9 1/4 for reach, because that 8's going to bite you in the butt every time.
Yeah, I would say that. I would agree with him on that. If you're gonna do an
9 1/4 is the sweet spot.
Get a 9 1/4.
Not a Rasa. I don't want to deal with it.
No.
9 1/4 Edge.
The Edge HD 9 1/4.
The Edge HD 9 1/4.
It's
I was talking to
$500 difference.
I was talking to a dealer, and he said they're projected to get those out in 2022. It's like, oh God.
Yeah. Order it now, man.
That's all.
Yeah, but Scott, you're saying
you might have it before my S3.
That's it. That's beginner scope was a C14. Yeah, that's
because Scott is a different type of monster. I'll tell you that right off the bat.
Yeah.
C11, my I don't want to have a hernia picking up a telescope. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't want to have a hernia.
Okay, but let me ask you this: what are you? Is it this for AP that you're focused on?
Well, this will be
for AP, for like planetary or something.
Probably some planetary. I'm
Mostly
looking
nebula.
at possibly getting the 533, something that gets really in there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if the 2600 would be a good fit. Something with small pixels, 533 or the 183.
Or the 183, something like that. Yeah, sure.
Something like that. Get real close. Probably far galaxies, far planetary. Just put a reducer in the back. Just shoot everything through the back. I don't want to do a hyperstar. I'd like to do one, but I think it'd be too much of a hassle.
Just get a reducer on it. Talk to TJ about that because he swaps that thing out all the time.
I've sent multiple emails to that dude. He doesn't respond.
Dude, nobody responds.
He's busy.
I think he's been kind of
You
busy.
do.
You know, I think he's been kind of good.
Yeah, because you need a friend.
But
It's getting deep. I'm gonna need boots.
yeah.
Oh, by the way, Stella got back to me today.
And
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Finally.
Yeah. I we're back on a talking basis, I guess. So.
From Precision.
So, I'm easing her in.
Oh, okay.
Optimum.
Okay.
I don't know.
She's a rep over at Optimum.
I haven't heard anything from anybody.
I think you'll hear from them soon.
Okay.
So anyway, back to focusers. We're just bantering. I'm pouring another drink here. So focusers. So we recommend rack and pinions for the most for beginners.
Yes.
Just for safety's sake, Crayfords, they're all right, but again, it's kind of like visual. It's dying. They're a dying breed of focusers. Yep. Are they still being used? Yes, they're still being used. Not very many scopes though are using them. I know we're using them, but again, it's a dying breed. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we understand that rack and pinion is the best bet. Now, let's talk about electronic focusers.
Mm-hmm.
Dan and I and Mark Ellis are completely different animals. If we're going to spend $3,000, it's going to be damn near close to that same amount, or a little less, to match the focuser.
Or a little more.
We're crazy. Because I just picked up a Nightcrawler. Why did I pick up a Nightcrawler? Because I don't want to mess with anything. It's a rotator. It's focuser. It gives me readouts. It gives me temperature. It does all the adjustments that I needed to do. Was it $2,700? Yes. But you're going to pay for what you get. If you want the good stuff, you're going to have to pay for it. But is there anything wrong with the little cubes?
No, but I was the same way. I bought the before the Nightcrawler came out. I bought the Moonlight with the rotator, the other motor on the side. So you had two motors, two big stepper motors. So it added a lot of weight to the back end of the scope because not only did you have another flange that you put on there that was like this thick filled with ball bearings, and then you had the belt and another weight on the side that you had to clip onto the other side of the focuser. One thing that was nice that it kind of evened out the weight on both sides of the telescope, but back end was just it was crazy. So I ended up taking off. If I could do it again, I would probably, honestly, between you and me, I'd probably get the Nightcrawler. I keep on hearing great things about it, and I'm just like you, Todd. I don't want to mess with anything. I want to set the telescope up and go to bed, and then I want to wake up in the morning and see my images, and I want to look out my window and see that my telescope parked itself and shut itself down, and it's not wet because it didn't rain while I was sleeping. So that's I'm the same way like you, and that's another reason why I didn't get the Nightcrawler. I wanted to be sort of a brand loyalist, I guess. I moved the Primaluce way, and I got the Asado with the hope of hopefully by the summertime rolling around, the Arco will be somehow released, which will be their rotator that connects to that. And the Arco itself is literally like, it's like this.
But it's like this, but you have to have 15 adapters to get it to work. I understand. I get it.
No. It fits the same ones I got. You just got to have the right ones. You know, that's how it is.
Oh, yeah.
And
go ahead.
Bye, Eric. See ya.
Doggy wants out.
So are Nightcrawlers the top end? I would think so. I don't know what else is out there, personally.
Well, because Feather Touch never really had that, right?
Well, no, they're kind of like...
They don't have the rotator.
Yeah. Well, and they didn't have a motor.
Hey, you're there too.
No, they had focusers now.
Yeah, but now.
Yeah.
Now. But for everybody that can't afford $2,700, depending on which side, there's a 2.5, there's a 3-inch, and then a 3.5. Why, for God's sake, you need a 3.5 other than to compensate for something that you don't have small of? You don't need it.
Because you have a chip this size, that's why.
It still doesn't matter. That chip still fits in a 2.5. Just saying. Even with a 4.5-inch draw tube.
I mean, I opted for the 3-inch because I didn't see a reason to spend another $500 on the 3 or 3.5. Didn't see a reason for it. Didn't make any sense to me. And fit a full frame, I'm good. So now we step down to the Moonlight again. It's the just the regular motor. They're around $500, $600. That's a significant difference between the Nightcrawler and that one. Now, Dan has more experience with the high stepper motor, because that's what he uses. Now, Dan, what is your take on those particular focusers?
Which focus? What are we talking about? Which focuses?
I got a herd over here.
We heard it.
I'm going to start quoting some Full Metal Jacket in a second.
So I know you got the Moonlight with a high stepper motor.
Yep.
Which is around $500 to $600, depending on which one you get. How have you liked it? Would you always recommend it for beginners or intermediates that can't quite afford yet the Nightcrawler? Or would you recommend it different?
Here's the thing. Well, if you're going... No, I wouldn't recommend the Nightcrawler first, obviously. That's a $3,000 investment. That's, if you got the money to burn and you got, hell yeah, get it. Go ahead. You don't have to worry about anything, and you won't have to worry about...
It's one and done at that point.
Yeah, you're not going to worry about it. And you can put it on any other telescope you decide to get in the future, and, if you just want to... Just save your stock focusers in case you sell the telescope. You want to put that on there. But, that I wouldn't do. I mean, Moonlight is a nice... I wouldn't say mid-level. I would say a little bit higher than mid-level.
It's top level.
Yeah, but I mean the regular Moonlight. I mean the Nightcrawler Moonlight is the creme de la creme, I think. You get everything with that. You don't have to worry about it. It's a rotator, it's a focuser, and it's awesome. The regular one, the version that I have, which is the one right under the regular Moonlight, light comes the same way, 2.5. It even comes in a 2-inch. And that's really good, but it's got it's bulky and it's big. That's one of the main drags of it. But as far as accuracy of focus curves, round stars, I've never had a problem. The only one thing I could say about it is the one that I have has a serial port instead of USB, even though that the version 2 motors now have USBs in them. That makes a big deal as far as data transfer is concerned. That's huge. But the newer motors are a lot smaller. It has USB in there, so you don't have to worry. Because right now what I have is I have a controller a serial wire going to the motor and another wire going out USB to the Eagle. So that's a big problem there. But they eliminate that whole thing. The controller is inside the focus. Other than that, well, let's see. The Feather Touch Moonlight, those guys that are for me, those guys are probably the top of the line focusers. I would probably, just starting out, depending on what kind of scope you have, I may push you towards a focus cube, because you know what? For a starter, it's got all your controls. It's ASCOM. You could use it. You could start learning the software, and it's only $300 investment.
Yeah.
So,
but that's yeah. I mean, it's $200 for the ZWO, and they've got the same size stepper motor in it.
$259, I think, for the
it's under 300.
Yeah, it's under $300.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for either one, you're going to be, especially when you're starting out, you're going to be fine.
And if I recall correctly, the Pegasus Cube and the ZWO are the same 60,000 stepper motor.
Yes.
Same series.
Yeah.
So. Yep. All you're really getting is a firmware and control difference. They're both ASCOM capable. They're both USB.
They both have temperature sensors.
They both have temperature sensors that are add-ons. Yep. So
one's blue, one's red.
Yep. And I know Prima Luce does make a focusing block. Yep. That's 450, 500, something like that.
Yeah,
but it's 10,000 steps.
Yeah.
Or sorry, 100,000. It's a little bit more fine focus. Their mounting is different because they mount to the outside of the shaft, and then it grabs the inside actual drive shaft. Whereas
it's kind of like with set screws, I think.
Yeah, well, the ZWO and the Pegasus, you have to bolt onto the focusing assembly somehow. With an L bracket, with the
actually the Sesto Senso's $299, by the way.
Oh, is it okay?
Yeah, they must have dropped their price.
They've dropped their price on a lot of things, which has been phenomenal, and kudos to them for being competitive and staying relevant in the market, which is amazing.
I'm just looking at. Yeah, that's all ASCOM. It's USB-C.
Yeah. No, because Mark had one. He was going to give it to me, but I refused to go to an Eagle or build up a mini PC, so I ended up getting the ZWO so that I could use it with you.
Yeah, I mean, oh, wait a minute. Did that come out?
Which, up until almost a year ago now, we had an autofocuser, but didn't have the ability to autofocus until like 3 revisions ago. So...
Yeah,
it's fairly new being able to do a full autofocus routine within the ASIR
but
platform.
I mean, from the results that you and Derek have been getting with it,
it's been spot on.
Yeah, since it came out in beta, I mean, I think Eric, you had one bump in the road real early on, but other than that,
yeah. But besides that, and then I got the hang of it, understanding, the backlash and and getting the steps correct. But besides that, it's been solid. And dealing with, getting the curve correct. Getting the right gas like this. But that was
going flatlining.
Yeah. So, but besides that, no, it's been solid. It's been solid. So, no. Now, real quick, you mentioned something, about my Rasa. And it being, and dealing with, you just earlier about, giving me stuff about my Rasa and it not being so flat. So I actually picked up another toy, another add-on for the Rasa. And the one thing is that the Starizona filter slider is... Right. It does cause some of that, but the biggest thing that really causes it is the flange of the Rasa itself, the Celestron flange, and it has felt on the back of it. And if you remove that felt a lot, it'll help deal with that that issue. But I was talking with a few people. Lydell Nunn was one of them, and he ended up purchasing for his Rasa. This is the Arteski filter adapter.
Okay.
8-inch filter adapter, and it basically replaces that. It goes over the flange, it goes over and it amounts and it connects up to your RASA, and it even comes with a metal 0.5 millimeter spacer here, because you need 17 millimeter of back focus for the RASA. And I haven't used it yet. I'll probably use it I'm going to take the doublet down and put the RASA on this weekend, because I'm going to have one clear night of about maybe 4 hours worth. So I'm going to use the RASA to use for that 4 hours. That's when you use the RASA, is when you don't have a lot of time and you want to get something done. You break out that bad boy. But he's been swearing up and down that ever since he's gotten this, his field, even going through CCD inspector, it's been perfectly flat.
Good.
So we're gonna give this a shot. We're gonna give this a try, and the filter actually goes on the inside of this guy. So it's basic. So it's not like the filter slider where you can swap out filters right there in the front and go back and forth. So you have to just decide on if you're going to use a one-shot color. And for the most part, at least the RASA 8, in my opinion, was really built for a one-shot color camera. It's kind of designed to be used for a one-shot color camera. So you can just simply put on, say, your L Enhance, L Pro, your Radiant, whatever dual band you want to use, and then you just go, and it's set. So no, I'm looking forward to this, and then running this through that ASTP check where when you showed me for the CCD inspector,
ASTAP.
and ASTAP, thank you. And I really want to see how this thing. Yeah, I really want to see how this thing turns out. So,
I'm interested too.
So
I mean, then I can't make fun of you no more.
Yeah, no, you can't. No.
Oh, we'll find something.
Oh, yeah, you can. You'll find something.
Nothing on me, man.
I'll find something.
So Dan, moving on.
Yeah.
We talked about a little bit of focus.
I like having a timekeeper. This is great.
Well, it's now going to be in every show.
It's added a new element to AstroWorld of maybe ending on time. So,
well, our closer is going to be here in 12 minutes.
My other podcast. This is what I have to do. I have to push everything along. So Dan,
nice.
Talk about your.
You didn't invite me out for your podcast, man. What the hell? I didn't know you had a podcast.
It's about hunting.
No, it's about hunting. Do you hunt?
I can.
In Long Island? Yeah, he goes hunting in Long Island.
Yeah.
The last thing he went on was a snipe hunt.
And possum. We got some possum. And raccoons. That's what we got.
Do you even have a forest in Long Island?
They have a park.
Yes,
it's got 4
do.
trees.
We do have a forest, and we do have deer. Yes, we do.
They're in a pen at
All
the
right,
park.
so Eric, or Dan,
Anyway,
what's
moving
your
on.
news? What's your big news?
No, I don't have any big news, but okay, so I'm going to move my chair, and I'm going to share my screen a little bit. I know. All right, hold on. And I've been getting yelled at because I'm wearing a tie, so happy St. Patty's Day, Dad, Granddad, whatever. So this is my St. Patty's Day tie. I wear it every year. So, and I know I'm sitting sideways, but what are you gonna do? So I'm gonna share. Well, I got to talk to Jason about getting my GoPro working, and then I want to.
No, I'm waiting for the gel cell. Waiting for the gel cell numbers to come from the bottom. Mug shot.
Yeah.
All right. So I was able to get everything up on the AstroWorld website for the first set of images. So for those of you guys that have donated to us, thank you. We're gonna get over 6 hours worth of data with the Tarantula Nebula, and there's gonna be a lot more data coming by the 26th of this month. So the 23rd, the 24th, and the 26th are the nights that we got scheduled for those to get the rest of the data. Right now, we just have some H alpha and S2, and all the rest is going to come in on those 3 days. So that being said, when you go into AstroWorld, and when you go under contests and go into Sun Sky Challenge and click here for the files, it'll ask you for the password that was given to you on the email. I don't have to put it in, I have it saved, and you'll get this. Okay, it'll show the next dates of acquisition. Okay,
the password was on that.
What? Oh. Why is that? Oh God, you're not supposed to see that. Anyway,
way to go, way to go, Hot Rod. Way to God.
All right, well I'm gonna change the password. Okay.
This is why we can't have nice things, Dan.
Well, I know everybody who donated. That the 9 people that donated, I know all of them. So, first prize again is 1 hour of instruction in PixInsight with Ron Breacher, and a $100 gift card from Camera Concepts. Second prize is a $100 gift card from Explore Scientific, and third prize is a 1 hour of PixInsight instruction from our friend Ron Breacher again. So thank you for all the donations from Explore, Camera Concepts, and astrodoc.ca. Ron Breacher, thank you so much. And at the bottom, you'll see the files that we have here. The Tarantula Nebula is here. This is only from March 3rd, okay? So I'm not going to be putting up any more dark spies, flats. I'm not going to be doing that. Next thing you're going to see is lights. They're all in a zip file. Okay, so do yourself a favor. These are fairly big zip files. Some of them are close to even being zipped about 750 meg, but the server is slow. Okay, the server is slow. So my suggestion is when you do this, do them one at a time and download selected. Okay, and it's going to take about maybe 15, 20 seconds, depending on how big the frames. This one might take a little longer, because the dark frames are a little bit bigger of a file, and it'll come up finally. My computer's a little slow, but there you go. And then you can just change this to darks, and then download it.
Tyler,
and then do it one at a time. Yeah.
Teacher, why is your computer blue? Is it just me? Your computer looks more blue.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Looks like you got a blue overcast.
It's probably because I white balanced him a while ago.
Oh yeah. You probably white balanced me with the lights, and now the lights are on the other side. So
okay. All right,
so that's it. So just do them one at a time. That's okay. So just do them one at a time. Wait for them to come by. It might take a little bit longer than normal, but I had to split them up this way so it doesn't get too much crazy. So the next thing you'll see is March 24th lights. Then March 23rd, March 24th, and March 26th. And you're going to use these calibration frames here. And that's it. And I won't go back up because you don't want to see that again. I'm going to have to change the password. So you guys are getting an email.
Probably smart.
What the password is. Yeah, I'll change the password.
Thanks, Dan.
No problem.
Can't have anything nice. Can't have anything nice. You know. So we got 9 minutes, folks. Questions, comments, concerns, anything that you want to discuss. We talked about Eric's 294. We had a little bit of an issue with the APP and the ROI, region of interest, not return on investment.
You said it right. Yeah. Region of investment.
He's learning.
I learned good things.
It can be taught.
It can be taught. We learned about Dan's password because he doesn't know how to keep anything secret. That's what happens when you go to Rhode Island.
Cyber security.
Cyber security. You know.
Don't you know?
Diplomatic
Jason
community.
And then we talked a little bit about focusers, what the good and bad and the ugly between each and the individual ones. Jason really didn't talk much because he's got a bunch of new stuff that he got for free, or I mean, deals.
There it is.
And then
That's the word.
Eric, I'm kind of curious. Eric, have you used the 152 yet?
No, because the precision, because the precise parts just got shipped this week. It just got shipped this week. There she is.
Say hi. Hi. She was doing dance party downstairs.
So, no, but it will be coming. The Beast will be released. Yeah, because I've got some targets in mind now that we're into Galaxy season. And
I'm curious. Are you going to use the 533 or are you going to use the 2600?
I don't have the 2600, so I'm most likely So I've got a 533. So.
294. 294. Sorry, 294.
Yeah.
294.
I'm probably going to start out with the 533 because I actually want to go after, say, for example, M1. It's a great.
I may have to ask Jason.
It's a great target for that. Yeah.
I can go without it for a little bit.
So, and there's a few other the fainter galaxies that are out there that I've seen some photos of in Astrobin that I might start building on my telescopius list. I can't remember off the top of my head right now, but there's a few of them out there, and even some parts of going into Virgo and Markarian's chain. There's a lot of small.
Watching. Go ahead.
There's a lot of small galaxies out there, pretty faint galaxies in that chain that I can really go after and single out. So now, that's going to be a definite area too.
The 533 doesn't have amp glow, correct?
Correct.
I think it was the first one.
The 533 was the first one to go no amp glow.
That's what I thought. That was the first one.
The 294 mono.
The 294 does have amp glow. That's an FYI.
No,
it does.
The mono does not.
No, the mono does have amp glow.
Oh, it does. Okay, I thought it had the same Sony sensor.
It's the same. It's the same chip. It's not the same chip exactly, but it's on the same level. It's a Sony chip. It's on the same level, but it does have a bit of amp glow. So yeah, that's what.
I know the 2600.
I think the 2600.
Yeah, the 2600 and the 6200 are no amp glows.
Are no amp glow. Yep.
I loved when Mark let me borrow the 6200. It was a great trial for me. Again, going back from last week's show, I'm sure it has its place. Maybe in something that's got the higher focal length. And if I ever come across a Edge HD at 9 1/4, hopefully, maybe this year, which I doubt it. I think it plays a role in that. But anything as far as refractor that doesn't have the reach for it, I don't personally, I don't see a use for it. I don't.
Right.
Being full frame, unless I'm doing what you're going to be doing, Eric, is landscape photography for Milky Way or something of that nature.
Right.
Yeah, it's different with the DSLRs than it is with a dedicated astro camera.
It is. It
is, but it's still full frame nonetheless.
And you wouldn't necessarily, but you wouldn't use the 6200 for landscape astrophotography.
That depends.
You could, I guess you could, but
you could with a lens. You could.
Yeah, you could.
Why not?
If you get a 14 inch, if you get a 10 inch or 14 inch, if you get a 14 or a 10 millimeter, you could. Yeah, you could.
I would personally. I would stick with a 24 millimeter.
24 to 50.
24 to 50. Yeah, that way you don't have the bokeh, you don't have the elongated trees or something.
You won't get the vignetting depending on the quality of the glass you get. It's a really good sweet spot for most landscape astrophotography.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah, once you start getting below 24, you start getting barrel distortion.
Okay.
Just because then
I should have talked to you guys before I got this Bauer then.
Yes, you should have.
Well, so that's the thing. So that's where I started. So I started doing landscape. The problem is once you get to about 20, 24, you start getting barrel distortion. So you have to remove that electronically, usually in Photoshop or Lightroom, doing lens correction.
Okay.
Is it detrimental? No, it's artistic. You know, if that's the look you're going for, it's phenomenal. But the big thing with most landscape, you want a decent horizon line. You won't get it.
Right.
You'll get a smile or a frown, depending on where you're framing it.
Okay.
All right, so I got to apologize. Apparently, I've upset some viewers. I apologize. It's this fall.
Oh, George is mentioning M82. That would be a good one too.
Yeah, M82 would be a good one. Busy Bugs, I apologize. Long Island, I'm sure, has beautiful parks. I hope to visit one day. Not to just visit Dan and harass him, but I know the three trees. The three trees need some loving too.
Yeah, you know, we could always meet halfway in like Virginia or something, you know.
Well, that's the thing. At work, we're getting ready for NEAF. Like, we're getting ready for NEAF, and it's
virtual NEAF again.
Wait for what? Yeah, virtual NEAF again. I can't wait to get rid of the COVID. Or I know it'll never go away, but eventually everything will start getting progressively better. Kind of like the flu shot. I'm going to show my ignorance, but I tell my wife, it's like, COVID's basically the new flu. You're going to every year, it's going to mutate. You're going to have to get a different flu shot. You're going to have to just keep getting it.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, eventually it's going to go away. But other than that, guys, I think we covered Dan's topics. We covered Eric's topics. Jason's just here to sign us off. That's why Jason's here.
Monkey punch button.
And monkey punch button. That's all he does. And, you know, I don't think there's a reason to stay on for another minute and a half. So I think we're going to let our beautiful assistant here
we're going to close it out.
Sign us off.
Absolutely.
Okay, go ahead. Say your line.
Keep imaging, keep educating, and clear skies. We'll see you next time on AstroWorld TV.
Okay, hit the close button.
All right.
All right.